go from all that we knew before. The crow spread his wings, carrying you, carrying everything to the next dimension of knowing. Watching, waiting, always growing. I see your shadow in the trees. It makes me fall, makes me freeze. So I have to let you go from all that we said before. Pain took your body and mine. Now you're gone and I'm left behind, wondering about all those years, all the silence, all the tears, how we hurt beneath the love. But I had to stay and you rose above. So I have to let you go, even if I don't want to, even if feeling sad is all that's left from what we had. But the crow is still in flight, carrying you with all his might. I reached out to touch his wing. He flew away like he did that spring. And your voice is in the air, and your spirit is everywhere. And if I want my soul to live, I'll keep on trying to forgive. Oh, thank you. That song was called The Crow. And it's about, it's a very personal song. It's about a friend of mine who passed away a number of years ago. Most people know that I write generally about three topics: social justice, death, and you jerk, why did you do that? So this next song is a jerk, why did you do that song. Not about me, it's about someone else. And it's about a woman who leaves a relationship that turns out not to be great for her. It's called Lost in Dreams. He says, sorry, give me one more chance to prove it. She says, hardly, I'm out of here before I lose it. Just can't keep this act up every day. It's high time that I packed my things and walked away. She goes downtown, looking at familiar places. She turns around, thinking about the choice she faces. If she goes back to him, it starts again. Or she could have a new life just around the bend. Asking if she wants to come home. She says, I'm alright, but thank you, no, and hangs up the phone. There's a closing door inside her heart. She's crying and she feels like she will fall apart. But she is even stronger than she seems. And when she finally sleeps, she becomes lost in dreams. And she's free. Thank you. So, about 12 years ago, I wrote a song after a tent city had gone up behind Bissell Center on 96th Street. And I had a chance to talk to some of the people there about how they ended up in that situation. It was on the day that it was provincial land. It was on the day that the province came in to clear everybody out. And what really struck me by some of the people's stories was that they were people who were just like you and me, and what happened to them was like one bad thing happened, and then another bad thing happened, and they lost their housing security, and there they were. And I wrote this song. It's kind of a composite of some of those stories that I heard that day. I've been performing it ever since, and I'm very sad to see the same situation happening over and over and over again. The song is called Summer. They used to call me Summer. Life was warm inside my home, but the cold chills of December follow me as I walk the streets alone. I had a job until the downsize, found another with less pay. Then the landlord raised the rent, and I could not afford to stay. They used to call me Summer. That was long before my fall. Now I struggle to show others that I am still human after all. Empty smiles offered wisdom, told me there's lots of help around, but the safety net tore open under me, and it was quite a long way down. pitched a tent along with others until the province made us go. They said this was no place to live, like we already didn't know. They used to call me Summer when I was so innocent and free. Now I'm just another number, a longing face no one wants to see. This is not where I thought I'd be, and I hope you'll remember me. Thank you. During the spring of this year, I had the privilege to take part in a peer-to-peer community support project called SOLOS. And what the program was people in the community who are dealing with grief and loss had the chance to connect with an artist of their choice who were taking part to talk to about their experiences. And I had several people who wanted to talk to me and wanted to connect with me as a songwriter, and I ended up writing 3 songs, one for each person, based on those conversations that we had. And those are on an EP that you can find on my Bandcamp called Lost Tending. And the first song I'm going to do is a song that's written about a transgender woman who was part of the 60s scoop, and she was adopted by a white religious family. And she's had a very, very hard life, but she radiated joy and positivity at finally being able to live her authentic self. The song is called To All Who Are Concerned. This is who I am, the woman I've become. I'd say that I am happy, I'm good and kind and fun. But I grew up not knowing where I'm really from. And now that I look back, I see how far I've come. Gotten in some trouble, but I've made many friends. Some of them are with me, some have met their ends. I see them in the shadows, I hear them in the wind. And when it's time to cross that bridge, we'll reunite again. I like to sing and dance and play my favorite songs and plan for the day when I will be gone. A stage with lights and music, they'll put my casket on, while everyone shares laughter and parties all night long. From dust I was born, to dust I will return. I wanna be remembered, not for riches that I've earned, but the love I have given and the truths that I've learned. I've tried to pass this wisdom to all who are concerned. This is who I am, the woman I've become. I'm finally happy, more than when I was young. I still have lots of living before my days are done. I'll bloom like a garden, then I'll set like the sun. Yes, I'll bloom like a garden, then I'll set like the sun. Thank you. This next song was written about a man who used to sing his grandmother to sleep every night in Cree. And then he got taken away to residential school, where he all but has forgotten his language. And actually, the first few lines of the song come directly from him. They were written down. He wrote them down in Cree and in English for me to incorporate into the song that he wanted to have as something to be as a tribute to his children and his grandchildren. This is called Long Lost Friend. Alone in the woods where I went walking, I heard a voice calling my name. When I looked up, there was my old friend, my eyes filled with tears that fell down like rain. He gave me his handkerchief so I could see through the sorrow that's been blinding me. This wilderness haunts me, I'm lost in my mind. I want my children beside me while there's still time. I used to sing my grandma to sleep in the language I spoke as a child. Then they took me away. I tried to resist, stood up for myself. They said I was wild. They whipped and they beat me till I learned to forget. And I still can't remember most of those words yet. But I think of my grandma with her cigarette. The harder I try, the closer. I'd like to thank you, my long-lost friend, for hearing my story and drying my tears. But even now, I still feel the pain I've held inside all of these years. But I hope that my grandkids are strong and proud and can have all the freedom I wasn't allowed. They and my children will know who they are. And just like my grandma, I'll never be far. I'll be in the moon and I'll be in the stars. Thank you. And the last song that I'm from the Lost Tending EP, which you can conveniently find on Bandcamp and all the streaming services, was another man who was also a residential school survivor. And he was very quiet when we would meet, which the meetings were all on Zoom, of course, because of the pandemic. And he was very quiet, but he would tell me little vignettes of his life, kind of before and after he came to the city. And he was very spiritual, so the main thing that he'd want to do whenever we spoke was he'd want to pray together. So I ended up writing a gospel/rock song. This is called Close My Eyes. Once I lived with nature, closer to the land. Why I was torn away, I still don't understand. Now I'm in the city, thankful to be alive. Through broken bones and bruises, trying to survive. I wish that I could close my eyes and find myself back home. Those who've gone to me live on. I am never alone. Father in heaven, in your name I pray. Send help to those who need you now and every day. I know you hear my pleading. I'm trying to be true. Even though I'm hurting, I find my strength in you. I wish that I could close my eyes and find myself back home. Those who've gone to me live on. I am never alone. And sometimes people tell me they're surprised I am still here. I guess that there's a reason I haven't disappeared. I wish that I could close my eyes and find myself back home. Those who've gone to me live on. I am never alone. I wish that I could close my eyes and find myself back home. Those who've gone to me live on. I am never alone. I am never alone. I am never alone. Thank you. Okay. Just checking how we're doing for time here. Okay, we're doing well. So this next song is another one that is inspired by my time here in Boyle Street in Macaulay. It's based on a true story about something that happened around 2013, 2014, and also led to the creation of Ambrose Place, which is a wonderful, wonderful facility that provides supportive housing for Indigenous people. The song is called The Ghost in the Alley. He lived in a tent downtown in an alley. Sometimes at a church he would get a meal. Shelters only took him when he was sober. The demons he lived with ruled how he'd feel. Some tried to chase him out of the alley. They'd call the cops, chase him away. But pushing him out was not a solution, as if he had somewhere else he could stay. But this neighborhood had been gentrifying, and some homeowners didn't want him around. They couldn't look into the face of addiction. They were scared of upsetting the lives that they'd found. A non-profit group wanted to build some new housing where he would have had some help cleaning up. But the neighborhood council said it's not happening. They already had too much of this stuff. So they went to court over the permit, kept filing injunctions, tying up funds, and the nonprofit organization kept fighting while the neighborhood council thought that they'd won. And out of the ashes came grassroots support from folks who were fed up with everything. They ousted those who held the neighborhood hostage from the whims and desires of these self-appointed kings. An emergency neighborhood meeting took place. A plan was set in motion that day. The voices of those who could lead with compassion drowned out those who would allow hatred to stay. And now there's a place where some can live safely. The finances found, the permit appealed, but this came through too late to save him from his wounds he would never heal. He'll always be the ghost in the alley. His body is gone, but his spirit is here. Remember him when you see eyes that look empty. Greet them with love instead of with fear. Thank you. That song will hopefully be on my next album, which is hopefully coming out next year, which will hopefully also be available on Bandcamp and all the streaming services. The title of the album is going to be called Corners. Pardon me? Hopefully. Because nothing's ever guaranteed, but you can always have hope. This is a song that I often play called Tuning My Guitar. You're very welcome. I find things just kind of go better when the guitar's in tune, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer than at other times. The song is called Voices of September. A lot of people ask me what it's about. I say I don't know, I just came up with it, but one thing is it is kind of about a nightmare, so I'll just leave it at that. Save me from what I remember. I hear voices of September. I'm being haunted by rumors of a dead man. They're coming at me from the highway of the deep end. I close my eyes and try to keep pretending, but the way you dominate my dreams is never ending. Save me from what I remember. I hear voices of September. Give me your ashes so I can build a mountain, and then I'll pour my tears into a fountain. This broken world is of our own making. We pave the ground of the road I am now taking. Save me from what I remember. I hear voices of September. Oh, save me from what I remember. I hear voices of September. Haunted by rumors of a dead man. They're coming at me from every direction. I light a candle, say a prayer while it's burning. I cannot sleep, my mind is overworking. I cannot sleep, my mind is overworking. Please let me sleep. Please let me sleep, oh, please let me sleep. Hey, thank you. I got a couple more songs for you. If you like what you hear and you want to connect with me, I have some free, really pretty, multicolored guitar picks at the main counter there that has my name and my website and my social media handle on there, so you can find me on the Twitters, on the Instagrams, and on the Facebooks. For my last couple of songs, I'd like to bring out Johnny Blackburn to play bass. And he can get set up while I play my tuning my guitar song again. I think we're good, yeah. This next song is one that I also wrote quite a while ago. And I wrote it about peace, particularly peace in the Middle East, from my perspective as someone who grew up being told that things were happening because of certain things in a certain way, and then later on starting to examine those questions for myself and realizing that there was more than the story that I was being told. And I've come to perform this at just about every event that I am at that deals with peace and human rights, because although it's about, like I said, the Middle East, it's also universal. The song is called Walls. Been going through my mind lately a lot. Have many questions about what I've been taught. Nothing's as clear as it used to seem, as I stand idly by while humanity screams. I can't sit on the fence anymore when I have to choose between peace and war, and object to oppression where it arises, no matter what else it is disguised as. Something has to be done, don't know where to begin. Walls are meant to frame houses, not trap people in. I've been told I should be ashamed. I answer, don't do this in my name. I will acknowledge we're of the same tribe, but in this case I must step aside. I can't sit on the fence anymore when I have to choose between peace and war, and object to oppression where it arises, no matter what else it is disguised as. Something has to be done, don't know where to begin. Walls are meant to frame houses, not trap people in. I cry for the children, the women, the men who face the same hardships again and again. Generations spent under a regime where freedom exists only in a dream. I can't sit on the fence anymore when I have to choose between peace and war, and object to oppression where it arises, no matter what else it is disguised as. Something has to be done, don't know where to begin. Walls are meant to frame houses, not trap people in. We share the same blood, so I can't understand why we have to keep killing over a piece of land where the sons and the daughters of Abraham. I can't sit on the fence anymore when I have to choose between peace and war, and object to oppression where it arises, no matter what else it is disguised as. Something has to be done, don't know where to begin. Walls are meant to frame houses, not trap people in. Not trap people in. Not trap people in. And it's time to begin. Thank you. I've got one more song. I like to end with a cover version by one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Tracy Chapman. Because sometimes when you're talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper. Don't you know that talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper? Don't you know that talking about a revolution, it sounds like a whisper? While they're standing on the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? It sounds like a whisper. Poor people gonna rise up and get their share. Poor people gonna rise up and take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. I said you better run, 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 run. 'Cause finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution while they're standing on the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know they're talking about a revolution? It sounds like a whisper. And finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn, talking about a revolution. Oh, they're talking about a revolution. Oh, talking about a revolution. Oh. Thank you very much. Thank you to CoLab for having me. Thank you to Mike Tully on the sound. And thank you for all of you for coming out on this very blustery afternoon to hear me play. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula. That was really great. Really important music to share, too. So thank you so much for that. Make sure to check out Loose Tendings on Bandcamp and other streaming platforms. Lost Tendings on other streaming platforms and Bandcamp. And we'll be back at 2 o'clock for some more music from Stella Johnson. Sweet. Thank you very much.